Hello everyone and welcome to the Danger Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I am Danger and welcome to the next episode of Why Is This Card Banned? So, back row destruction and removal. Something that has advanced in this game over a long period of time. But there's not a lot of mass back row removal cards. And those that are seem to be banned for one reason or another. So in today's double feature, we're going to be discussing Heavy Storm and Giant Trunade. So, starting off with Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm is a spell card that reads, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. It is a normal spell. So you can play it only during your turn. It destroys spells and traps on your side of the field as well. So you may be thinking, why is this card still banned in 2018? I can't give you a direct answer on that, but I can attempt to explain it based off of the time period it got banned in. Heavy Storm got banned at the end of the 5Ds era. At this time, the game was starting to speed up, and many strategies were starting to play their own archetype-based spells and traps set onto the field. As well, things like the Agent deck had started becoming popular, and so they needed to have not only their counter traps, but also their field spell card on the field in order to operate. Things like Heavy Storm could, at the low cost of destroying a couple of your cards, if you had any, destroy their entire spell and trap board. As well, there is a couple of spells and traps that you would like to have destroyed. At the time, those cards were starting to raise in popularity, meaning that Heavy Storm could then destroy them, you gain all your effects. And then you could feasibly destroy anything played against you in the spell and trap card zones or the field spell card zone. It was a very powerful combo that, if done right, could net you very close to victory. It was experimentally taken off the ban list for one format during the start of the Arc V era, just as pendulums were getting big. Unfortunately, it was removed from the ban list once again for an unknown reason. Heavy Storm is very powerful in the fact that it gets rid of everything, and saw much competitive play since its release. Now, the other half of this video is really going to be tutored around Giant Trunade. Giant Trunade is a normal spell card that reads, returns all magic and trap cards on the field to their respective owner's hand. This was a very powerful card, and as addressed in our Why Is This Card Banned Premature Burial Monster Reborn video, this card could cause multiple loops, with cards such as Swords of Revealing Light and Premature Burial being bounced back to the hand. You could then play them again for little to no repercussive cost. As well, it was considered to be slightly better than Heavy Storm and was thus banned much sooner. Along the same lines of Premature Burial, Giant Trunade, when bouncing your Swords of Revealing Light, could give your opponent an extra 3 turns of not being able to attack. That is very big back in the day when this card was being played, as things like that were very, very powerful, with very few ways to actually get rid of spells and traps. Once they were activated, it meant that playing your Giant Trunade on your Swords of Revealing Light was a smart play. As well, let's say that there was something that you wanted to play that was super important, like your Monster Reborn, but you knew that your opponent had some sort of counter trap to negate it. You could play the Giant Trunade, either forcing them to activate that counter trap, or force it to be returned to their hand in order to play your cards out consistently. So, during that time, which was during the GOAT format era, Giant Trunade was one of those staples that you had to play. As well being a common from starter decks at the time, it was fairly easy to get a hold of. Just go to your local store that sold cards, buy a copy of that starter deck, and you'd normally get your Giant Trunade and a few other good cards to go with it. As well, back in the beginning, there was a small ruling nightmare when it came to the water deck, the water structure deck 4, Fury from the Deep. At the time, there was 2 very powerful monsters in that deck. Both of them revolved around sending Yumi from your side of the field to the graveyard to either destroy the entire field other than itself, or destroy everything, including the hands, and send it to the graveyard. For a small couple of weeks upon its release, the price of Giant Trunade skyrocketed for every price. It was believed that if you chained your Giant Trunade, well, activated your Giant Trunade in response to having to get rid of your Yumi, you would both get your effect of your Ocean Dragon Lords, and then keep your Yumi in your hand, being able to use it again the next turn if you needed to. At that time, we did not have any sort of reliable way of searching your field spell, so being able to use your field spell twice was very powerful. Upper Deck quickly released a ruling that stated that you had to send the card to the graveyard in order to activate the effect. Meaning, if you activated your Giant Trunade, you would not get to activate your Ocean Dragonlord effects. Which quickly put a quell to the Giant Trunade combo, but it was still being played for multiple other things. As well, there is also many smaller cards that do the same thing, in the form of things like Mystical Space Typhoon, in the form of Dust Tornado, and more recently, both of these cards have actually gotten retrains, in the forms of Hey Trunade and Heavy Storm Duster. Well, Hey Trunade now only gets rid of face up. No, well, Hey Trunade now only gets, I believe it's only face up spell or trap cards on the field. Heavy Storm Duster is a trap card that gets rid of up to 2 cards on the field, and is considered the better card to be played. As well, Heavy Storm Duster is a super rare, where Hey Trunade was a short-printed secret. Neither of those 2 cards have really seen much competitive play, though in the few decks that have, it seems Heavy Storm Duster is the preferred card over Hey Trunade. Can either of these 2 cards come back off the list? I believe maybe Heavy Storm could, but Giant Trunade could not. Even though Swords is not being played anymore, there is the ability to have multiple loops with your field spells today, such as Trickstar Light Stage and Magical Meltdown, which keep things like Giant Trunade banned. Being able to bounce those back to the hand, and then reactivate them, and then search your deck for another copy of whatever card you needed from Trickstar Light Stage, or another copy of Alistair the Invoker, is just too powerful. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and this discussion on these 2 cards. And sorry it's been a little while since we've done one of these videos, but we haven't really had a lot to talk about. I was hoping to see something really cool, but with the upcoming ban list, I figured it was time once again to jump back into the series. As always though guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Danger, this is the Danger Yu-Gi-Oh channel, and this is the Danger Yu-Gi-Oh channel, signing off.